Guys, it continues to not make any sense. We've got a major breaking college football story regarding conference realignment, conference expansion. We have USC and UCLA planning to leave for the Big Ten as early as 2024. Apparently, the move has not been finalized yet, but this is something that is trending in that direction. And just from a geographic standpoint, it makes absolutely no sense. But as they say, follow the money. And guys, the conference imbalance just gets worse with this move. The Big Ten and the SEC, with Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, these two conferences will be both the two huge super conferences, and I think one of the Power Fives. I think at this point, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12, there was kind of a notion that because the Big 12 was replacing Texas and Oklahoma with solid mid-major teams, it would kind of stay a Power Five. I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, it is a complete imbalance, and now do we get Notre Dame joining the ACC? Will that happen? There's rumors all over the place, but geographically, this was something that was rumored last year. This idea of USC joining the Big Ten. What is the point of conferences if you have two teams from the opposite ends of the country in the same conference? This all just boils down to money. And you can see we've got some late tweets here. USC and UCLA are in negotiations to join the Big Ten Conference. A stunning but not all that surprising. That's a surprising move. USC joining the Big Ten is a surprising move. I'm sorry. Teams are jockeying to get into the top two leagues of the FBS, the SEC, and the Big Ten. If this happens, it just accelerates the Big Ten and SEC, leaving everyone else in the dust, which is basically what's happening. And the main reason this is happening and the main incentive for USC and UCLA to join the Big Ten is money. The revenue contracts in the Big Ten the TV contracts rival that of the SEC. The Big Ten is actually about to set the record when they agree to their new TV deal. I believe in 2024. There's some question marks. There's an idea that the Big Ten might agree to a deal with NBC, which I would be totally in favor of because I think they need to get away from Big Noon. I hate Big Noon. But guys, the reason this is happening, does it make any sense in terms of from a divisional standpoint, from a conference standpoint? No. It's all about money. And at this point in college football, the two biggest divisions by far are the Big Ten and the SEC. And my future thoughts on this is, I think what's going to end up happening with college football, we're going to evolve into a three-conference kind of mega league in a sense. And it's going to be the Big Ten, it's going to be the SEC, and it's going to be the ACC, possibly with Notre Dame joining along with other teams, and we're going to see the total erosion of the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Again, the Big 12 with Texas and Oklahoma leaving their two most popular teams, that's going to significantly hurt their league anyways. So I guess this answers the question as to why the Big Ten hasn't released future schedules. If you look on any Big Ten team's future schedule, their 2023 in-conference schedule is blank. Their 2024 in-conference schedule is blank. Their 2025 in-conference schedule is blank. And the thought is Oklahoma and Texas will be joining the SEC in the year 2024. And now the reports are USC and UCLA will be joining the Big Ten as early as 2024. That's what I've heard on that. I don't know if it's something that might happen in 2025, but the report is as early as 2024. We could get USC and UCLA in the Big Ten and Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. And at that point, you would think they would have to expand the playoff. With how good USC is doing in recruiting with Lincoln Riley, you could say they're back. Same thing with Texas. Steve Sarkisian getting Arch Manning. USC gets Caleb Williams to transfer. They have Malachi Nelson, the superstar 2023 quarterback. These two conferences are going to totally lap all of the other conferences, and it's going to set up some extremely difficult in-conference schedules, which leads to schedule imbalance, which leads to teams getting multiple losses, and if it's a 4-team playoff, they're going to be left out of the playoff. The year 2024 could be crazy, because if you guys know, the 4-team playoff is apparently locked in until 2025. So in 2024, we will guaranteed get a 4-team playoff. That could be with Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC and with USC and UCLA in the Big Ten. So you want to talk about a complete schedule imbalance compared to what the ACC is facing? Clemson, Miami, Oregon. What happens to Oregon now? Do they get left behind? Do they try and join the ACC if the ACC is going to be part of the Big Three? Does a Big Three conference form with the SEC, the Big Ten, and a new ACC if Notre Dame joins the ACC? Does Notre Dame consider joining the Big Ten now? Do they expand it even more after these two teams? There's a lot of questions, and again, the idea of conferences seems ridiculous at this point. If you've got these two teams are in the same conference, 2 teams from California, and then a team from Michigan, a team from Ohio, a team from Nebraska. They're all in the same conference. What's the point of conferences? It's supposed to be geographically based. It makes no sense. And I think overall, I think college football, the most healthy version of college football, is a 12-team playoff with Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12, with USC and UCLA in the Pac-12. That's my personal opinion. I know this is going to set up USC versus Ohio State. It's going to set up Texas versus Alabama, although we're already getting that in a non-conference game. But, it's going to set up fun games. I understand that, but I don't know. Why can't we just have these games as non-conference? What's the point of a conference if you have the same conference has one team from California and another team from New Jersey? Well, that's not what is it? I don't understand. It's like, there's no point. It just does not make sense to me. So guys, that is the latest update on it. Big Ten's next negotiations for their new TV deal is going to be crazy. It's going to blow the SEC TV deal out of the water. And I'm hoping, again, maybe NBC can get it. I just hate the idea of Big Noon. They've completely ruined several big-time games with horrible atmosphere, in the early morning, things like that. We will see. But again, guys, once the big news, USC and UCLA, 2 of the best programs. Right now, I would definitely put Utah over UCLA, and I would also put Oregon over UCLA, but UCLA is still a very storied program. You're going to get teams like Michigan traveling to the Rose Bowl and playing in conference. Ohio State traveling to the Rose Bowl. What about this? In-conference matchup in November. UCLA traveling to Rutgers. How weird is that? Is that not extremely strange? These schedules, if this happens and they make schedules and you see a November game and it's like UCLA at Iowa, I'm going to be like, what the? That is funny to think about. Texas and Oklahoma, it's not as far-fetched geographically with the SEC. But this, you're going to have USC at Penn State in a whiteout. Okay, it is kind of fun. It is kind of fun. The hypothetical matchups are fun, and it'll be crazy to see which teams get matched up together. Does Ohio State get matched up with USC? Maybe in the Coliseum. By the way, guys, I love the renovation the Coliseum has done. It's one of the best renovations. Google Coliseum renovation. It's amazing. But, guys, I'm off topic. The main story, this is crazy. It's going to set up crazy matchups. If it happens, it looks like it's happening. This is a direct response to the SEC trying to take over college football and the Big Ten saying, no, we're right there. We're going to get 2 superpowers from the West to join us. And now you've got 2 mega conferences forming as early as the year 2024. This is breaking stuff. We'll continue to follow this story. It is conference realignment in the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.